Welcome to the Tuesday night pre-show show here on Facebook. I'm Steve Ray, the Meat Master. We'll be going live with John, Christopher, and Sally in about 10 minutes right here on Facebook Live. Brought to you by Beef O'Brady's in Ottawa. Have you been by the new Beef O'Brady's? Actually, the newly remodeled Beef O'Brady's. Wonderful, wonderful place. Tay and his family, 10 years. Folks, 10 years here in Ottawa. We have been going to Beef O'Brady's. Can you believe that? 10 years? I remember when he first opened, he got into the Christmas parade. He had never seen anything like it. He could not believe we had a Christmas parade 10 years ago. And I have been a steady patron ever since. Love Beef O'Brady's here in Ottawa. Newly remodeled. Got a huge television. Bigger than the 65 behind it. It's on the whole wall. But the only problem with it is it's so big, but they didn't want to lose any seats, so they have people that sit there in booths. So if you sit under the big TV, everybody stares at you all night long. So if you dribble your chicken wings, or if you dribble your steak, or if you spill your tea, or if you spill a drink, everybody in the whole restaurant sees it, and they laugh. They laughed at me when I did it. They better laugh at you too. It's only fair. Hey, coming up at 10 after 7 is the Owl's Nest Barbecue segment on 92.7 Nougat Radio Live with John, Christopher, and Sally. We'll be doing that in just a minute. But I'd like to get with you on Tuesday nights to tell you what's coming up. Tomorrow night on the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show with Frank Blair, who'll be sitting right here with me tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. We have two great guests from right here in Chattanooga. Our first guest will be Scott from Smokestack Barbecue. Scott went up to Kingsport and competed in his first Steak Cook-Off Association contest. The Steak Cook-Off Association, for those that don't follow food sport, is the largest sanctioning body of steak cook-offs in the world. They are literally worldwide. And Scott went up to Kingsport to compete in that contest, and he finished the first one, finished second. Yeah, second place. First one he ever did, second place. And then to top that, our friend Sean Cosby, who owns the Choo Choo Barbecue down over on East Brainerd Road. You know Sean, been there for years. He goes down to Gaston, Alabama, and cooks in the Major League KCBS barbecue contest. Now, folks, the KCBS is the sanctioning body of Major League Barbecue. The best of the best are in the KCBS. Sean goes down there, and you know Sean is a World Food Championship finalist in barbecue. He goes down there and takes second place and gets a perfect score in chicken, 180 points available. He gets it in chicken. Can you believe that? 180 points in chicken. Then he comes in first in pork butt, ninth in brisket. I'm doing this from memory. 17th in ribs. Finishes second place. And Sean doesn't cook that many KCBS events, but although lately he has been partaking in a few more. So Sean will be on the show tomorrow night, and Scott will be on the show tomorrow night with us, and we'll be recapping their contest respectively. And you say, well, big deal, Steve. That sounds boring. It's not boring, because Scott's going to tell us what he used, what seasonings he used to finish second place in the Major League Steak Cook-Off Association contest. And what does that mean to you? Information. And what is information? Information is power. Information is knowledge. He'll tell you what he used on a steak, how he did it. And then you, on Friday or Saturday, when you have your friends over, you're cooking steaks, you can do it just like Scott did. And then you, when you're doing your pork butts and you're doing your ribs, your chicken, your briskets, you'll know how Sean did his, and you can do it for your friends too. Information and knowledge. That's barbecue information right here on the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show. We do it every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. And we'll be calling John, Christopher, and Sally in just a few minutes, probably in about 5. I want to remind everybody, coming up tonight is my personal hero. That's right. And I don't say this about many people. My dad was one of my personal heroes. Joe Kelly, a friend of mine, was a personal hero. And Greg Rempe is a personal hero. I include him in that group of people. He comes on at 9 o'clock tonight on the BBQ Central radio show. You can catch the BBQ Central radio show on the BBQ Central show webpage, the BBQ Central Facebook page, and the BBQ Central YouTube channel. Now, I want you to go, because Greg has. Let me tell you how Greg. Let me tell you the difference between my show and Greg's show. When I call Aaron Franklin, who just had a book out, he let a book out last week. His book was released last week. Sound like some hillbilly. His book was released. And I got the book. I was on the first day it was released. I've got it. I take it home. In the next 2 days, I read the entire book. Read it front to back cover. I love to read. It's a great book. I contact his office. Hey, this is Steve. I'd like to have Aaron on the show. I've read his book. I've got his book. It'd be a great interview. 35 minutes is all we want. 35 minutes is all we want. I get an email back. We're really busy this year, Mr. Ray. We just can't. We don't have time. I'm sorry, Steve. I just don't have time for you. Now, let me tell you the other part now. Now, the guy like Greg Rempe on the BBQ Central show, the Franklin people are contacting him. Say, Greg, can we come on your show? I'll have to work you in. I'm really busy. But I'll see if I have time for you, Aaron Franklin. So that's the difference. The big names on the BBQ Central show, the interesting names, some big names, local names on the Owl's Nest Barbecue show. But both places, you can get barbecue information. Greg tonight at 9 o'clock, go to YouTube. It's funny. Greg's a funny guy. They have a chat room on YouTube. It's hilarious. People chime in from all over the United States. There'll be some big names on there. David Bosca's on there sometimes. Kinger, this guy named Kinger from Canada. He's hilarious. John Dawson from Idaho. Patty O'Daddio. He's on there. John Solberg from Michigan. He's hilarious. David Huff. Hey, no big deal. And then you've got Doug Scheiding from Texas. He'll be on there. And they all talk amongst themselves. And they tell funny stories about Greg. And it's just a lot of fun on the BBQ Central radio show. That comes up at 9. So the BBQ Central show at 9. I don't know why I keep saying radio. It's on the internet. The BBQ Central show at 9 o'clock tonight Eastern Standard Time. And the Owl's Nest Barbecue show tomorrow night at 7 with my good friend and neighbor, Frank Blair. Let's go to the Skype hotline. And we are calling
Grill on April 19th. That's Good Friday, y'all. La Fiesta Mexican Grill is located at 8523 Dixon Pike. Just look for our giant yellow Nougat Radio Hummer. We love meeting our listeners, eating great Mexican food, and talking sports. Come out, bring the family, celebrate the sports guys out on the deck at La Fiesta Mexican Grill, April 19th from 6 to 8 p.m.
All the other guys, they're a bunch of weenies.
Nougat Radio 92.
Hey everyone, it's Greg Arias with TitanInsider.com and Pro Football Spot. Be sure to listen to the Sports Guys on Nougat Radio 92.7, Chattanooga's
John
best
Christopher, a.k.a. John Clanton and Sally. Coming up.
Welcome to the Sports Guys. I'm John Christopher.
I'm Shelly.
And we're here.
Shelly, not Sally.
Right here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Shelly. We are the Sports Guys. Shelly is a guest host. She comes in when she can. But during this hour and this time, we're going to bring on the master barbecuer himself, Steve Ray. Good afternoon to you, sir.
John Christopher and
yeah, we
Shelly.
were listening to you in the break, and Shelly said he called me Sally.
I know.
I did not. I did not.
And you know, Shelley, I've only been on with you 3 weeks in a row. You'd think I'd know that by now, but that mistake will not happen again.
Whatever.
No, you know what Dale Carnegie said about a person's name. He said, "There's nothing as sweet to the ears of a person as the sound of their own name," and that's very important. Now, if you hear that, I'll carry that a step further. If you hear that and you don't cry, you're not human. Where did you hear that, John Christopher? Does that bring back memories of Sunday?
Yes, it
If you saw that man hug that boy and you didn't cry, you're not a human being. Where did that come from? Where did that come from?
That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, good grief. Come on, Jim Nance. You're not a human being.
Starting to get into warmer weather, which means typically it's going to rain just a little bit, but we're getting some nicer weekends. Probably going to get one more frost. What meat is the most popular in the month of April and May?
Well, the meat that's most popular in barbecue 12 months out of the year, JC, is pork butt. Pork butt or chicken. I'd say pork butt because pork butt is the go-to meat, and that is the one that people learn to cook on. It's the easiest meat to cook. You can't mess it up. Well, you can, but it would be hard to mess up. It tastes good. It's great for beginning barbecue. It's great for advanced barbecue. And you know, last week we spoke of rubs and how important they were. We talked about layering rubs. But this week, JC and Shelley, what I want to do is talk about getting flavor inside what we call the big meats, inside the pork butt and inside the brisket. And the only way you can do that is injecting those meats. And that is actually taking a liquid matter, putting it in a big syringe and squirting it into the meat several times to inject flavor into that meat. And at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply Store out in Ooltewah, right next to my Midnight Oil service station, we have the Butcher Barbecue brisket injection and the Butcher Barbecue pork butt injections. And you can use them straight, or what I do, especially on pork butts, since we're talking about the most popular meat, Chris, is I mix mine with apple juice. And it thins it out, it injects well. And if you put Shelley, if you put a pork butt that was injected and you put a pork butt rather that was not injected right next to each other, and we pulled it, and I said, now Shelley, you tell me which one was injected. You could do it so easily simply by the superior taste that the pork butt that was injected has.
So, when you're injecting pork butt and you're injecting brisket, do you use the same kind of things for those, or do you use different flavors for the brisket since it's beef?
Good, that's a great question. There's different flavors. In a brisket, I like to stay with the beef. I will mix the Butcher's Barbecue brisket injection with a beef broth to thin it out a little bit. I want a real beefy taste. I want to keep that brisket. When somebody bites into my brisket after I've cut it, I want the beef to be exemplified. You see what I'm saying? I want it to be better than the meat itself. The same thing with the pork butt. Now, what I like to do is inject that pork butt. Sometimes I'll use orange juice, or even better, mango juice. We touched on this a little bit a couple weeks ago, Chris. Mix the Butcher's pork butt injection with mango juice, and you get a kind of a Caribbean Miami flair to it. And that is, I'm not kidding, that is the best tasting barbecue that you will ever have, is when you introduce an acidic, tropical type juice to a pork butt. It's off the chain, Chris. I'm not kidding.
You just said something about mango juice. I was just thinking another thing that probably would be great would be pineapple juice.
Exactly.
Mix it with pineapple juice and inject it, because I love pineapple. So I think that'd be awesome in it too.
That would be a great one to inject it with, Shelley. A lot of people use white grape juice. I've never heard anybody using grape juice. But all sorts of things that you can use to inject flavor. And you know, Chris, we always talk about flavor. the first thing your customer or friends taste is the last thing you put on that meat. And when you inject that thing and you cook it, that injection will actually, you'll get it down in there and it'll actually become part of the meat. It'll hang around. It won't get cooked off like your rub does. It'll hang around in the meat, and you will be able to taste it. And it'll make that meat it makes it more moist inside. It just makes it's such a better product. And, you know, and what we do, Shelly, is when you're doing a competition type of pork or brisket and you're injecting, you inject it like crazy because you're just cooking for 6 people, 6 judges, and they're just going to bite it once, maybe twice. And so you just want a one bite zing. So when you're doing for your backyard or for your events coming up like on Memorial Day and Easter Sunday, you want to back it down a little bit because you don't want that flavor to be so in your face, because the in your face flavor is good for 1 or 2 bites, but you can't keep eating it because it's just too intense. What you want to do is back it down so there's a nice flavor running through that meat the entire time when somebody's eating a plate of it or on a sandwich, what have you, that they get a nice taste that's different from anything they've ever tasted before, and you'll really appreciate the compliments that you get when you prepare them that way.
Okay, this is a really dumb question.
Chris, you say that all the time, and you never have a dumb question.
Trust me, it probably is.
You talk about injections and you talk about different juices and stuff. Do you take rubs and stuff and mix it all in the juice itself to come up with some kind of flavoring to shoot up in there, or are you basically saying you're shooting up like pineapple juice or mango or whatever? Are you adding something to that juice to put in that injector?
Chris, that's not a dumb question. That's a great question. Lots and lots and lots of people add rub to their mix. I don't do it. I just keep it simple. But a lot of people will add rubs. Different types of they'll make a brine and they'll like make a vegetable brine. They'll put that brine in with the brisket, and they'll inject the brisket with a vegetable-based stock, so to speak, and try to get that home flavor, if you will, maybe more of a pot roast flavor. And people put all kinds of stuff in injections, and what's neat about it, Chris and Shelley, is the only thing that limits you is your imagination and what will go through that needle. If you load it up too much, the needle's going to clog up, and you're not going to be anywhere with it. So you've got to kind of use some common sense and not put too much stuff in it, because that needle's going to get clogged up. But the needles that we give you for free when you buy the injection at the the Owl's Nest barbecue supply store at Noodlewa, they can handle a pretty good mixture of stuff.
So, part B of that question: how do you know what to measure? How much of said rub or concoction that you make a brand out of? How do you know how much of something to put in there?
On the back of every bottle of Butcher Barbecue, he has a suggestion. 1 part one part injection with 2 cups of water or 2 cups of apple juice. You can go to his website and get suggestions. But that's the thing about barbecue, Chris. There is no set in stone way to do anything. There are only suggestions. Like when I do my injection for a pork butt, for instance, I always use half of Butcher's Barbecue injection and half of whatever else I'm going to inject it with, whether it's pineapple juice, mango juice, orange juice, apple juice, white grape juice. I'm half and half guy, and I mix it real good. We sell these little shakers that have a mixer in it. You shake them up. It's so easy to use, and it's not hard, and they wash, all this stuff washes up easy. We're giving you the injector, so after you inject it, just take the needle off, throw it in the syringe, close it, and throw it away. You don't even have to wash it. It's great stuff.
You don't keep the needle part of it and clean it and then use it again?
Yeah, you can, but I don't, Chris. I use the disposable ones, just throw them away. A lot of people buy fancy injectors, but you don't need that.
So, in other words, the case part of it you keep, but you throw away the needle part of it, correct?
No, you throw away the whole thing. It's free. We gave it to you. Just chuck it.
Okay.
Don't even worry about it. You can, but...
One time I got a turkey that had an injector with it, and I washed it and kept it for a long time.
Yeah, right. What's that? What is that, Shelly? What is that guy called? Tony something. What is it?
Tony.
Stories.
Yeah, something like he comes with an injector when you get him at Publix. I know exactly what you're talking about. You know that injection right there, Shelly. A lot of people use it in pork butts. His injection.
Well, you know, and I do think that the absolute best barbecue is a barbecue that has had injections and has all sorts of the way it was cooked and stuff like that. That when you get the barbecue, you don't even have to put barbecue sauce on it because it tastes so great even without salt.
Right, and that comes from injection, and there's lots of places that do it, and you can tell the meat's it always has a different taste. It's got a good taste to it, and I love the Caribbean flavors that people put in it. I think that is the best that there is. I've never tried it at a contest because I'm always scared that I'll offend one of the judges, that they may not like it. But I love it personally.
So, I guess when you have this injector and you're using it for chicken, we'll talk about chicken here for a minute. How much? Because obviously I've seen in movies and stuff where you put too much in there and it makes the skin kind of pop up, make it bulge out. Do they have a specific guide to know how much injection you put in your meat or your chicken?
No, but you'll know it. You'll know it. When you talk about the skin puffing up, that's good. That's what you want to see. That's flavor. Now, a lot of that flavor you got to remember, anytime you take a piece of meat, we always take this big slab of raw meat and we inject it and we put rub on it and we let it sit out to room temperature and we baby it and we make sure that everything is just perfect, that our smoker is burning right, and then we take it and then we put it into the most hostile environment known to man, heat and fire. And then we put a lid on it. And all of those things, most of it, 85% of that stuff gets cooked away and goes down into the coals. It goes down into the pits. You're only getting 15, maybe 20% of what you put in it that stays in the product. Now, the way you get the flavor is because a pork butt, if you put a 10-pound pork butt in there, when you get done with it, Chris, it's only going to be about 5 or 6 pounds. You're going to lose almost 50% of it. So the flavor, it's a ratio. See what I'm saying? You're only going to keep 15%, but your product's going to be so much smaller too. So that will still stay in there to flavor what's left. So
can't
overinject. You can't overinject. Don't worry about it. You can't overinject. I'll just say that. You can overflavor.
Okay.
You can overflavor, but you can't overinject.
So let's pretend I'm in a jam here, and I go to the grocery store and I pick up said barbecue sauce. Can I use that particular barbecue sauce and put it in the injector and inject it into the meats itself?
Yes, you
can. Or does it have to be done with juices and stuff?
No, you can. You'd have to thin it down. It would be too thick. You wouldn't want to do that because it would just stay in one place in the meat. But I've seen people do that. I've seen people take Sweet Baby Ray's and thin it with apple cider vinegar, and that's what they use for their injection. People use Shelly. People use everything. Oh yeah, I love apple cider vinegar injections. I love vinegar. I love the tanginess. I love vinegar-based sauces. I love that. Do you like that, Shelly?
I do. I love, my favorite barbecue sauces are the ones made with vinegar, and you can really taste the vinegar in them. Yeah. So, yeah, those are my favorites. So.
I like that little wanky taste that the vinegar-based sauces have into. Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. The sky's the limit, Chris. I'm saying barbecue. The sky's the limit. You can mess it up. You can put the wrong flavor in it, or you can put the right flavor in it and be the hero of the party. But don't be afraid. Try it. Just try it. The worst thing that can happen is it tastes a little funky. And then you know what you got? You got a big bottle of Sweet Baby Ray's or Dave Bosca's Butcher barbecue sauce sitting right there. Decide you can just dump that on it, and it tastes great.
That's what I end up doing, right?
Yeah, barbecue's the only thing you can hide your mistakes in.
We're gonna kind of backpedal here because I want people to know about your services. Let's talk about the barbecue grills you sell.
The Pit Barrel Cooker, $299. Everything that you need to cook barbecue comes in the box. It's a fascinating product. It's easy to use. I can show you how to use it. I did 2 demos today, Chris. I can show you how to use it, or you can go on YouTube, and Noah, the inventor of the Pit Barrel Cooker, is on there. He shows you how to use it. I'm serious. You can buy a Pit Barrel Cooker at my store, take it home, and in 40 minutes you can be cooking barbecue. It is that easy. And I'm going to say this, you can be cooking barbecue that you can eat. That it will be edible, and you won't make mistakes. It's the greatest little cooker you ever saw.
Because that is a good thing.
So simple.
I cut you off.
I'm right here. No, I'm right here. But the Pit Barrel Cooker, you'll love it. Just real quick, Chris. Real quick.
Yeah.
With the Pit Barrel Cooker, you use Kingsford blue bag charcoal. Nothing fancy. That's the beauty of it. There's nothing fancy that you use with the Pit Barrel. I had a customer, and he goes, "I'm surprised you don't carry lump charcoal." I said, I don't use lump charcoal. And then he said, "Well, have you ever used it?" And I was trying to be nice. Well, yeah, I've used it. I've used everything. I've used bamboo, for God's sakes. I've used everything. But I'm telling you, use the simplest thing makes the best barbecue, and that's what the Pit Barrel Cooker does. Blue bag Kingsford, a couple chunks of oak is my favorite, and that's your flavor. That's your smoke flavor profile. Simple. It's just simple.
So they come out there, give your address of where you're at, because I got a part B of this.
9043 Lee Highway, Ooltewah, Tennessee. For 35 years, just look for the Midnight Oil, that big friendly Midnight Oil service station. The only Michelin and Goodyear tire dealer in Ooltewah. And right next door, look at the windows. It says BBQ Supply. You can't miss it. Come on in. Either door. We've got 3 front doors. Folks, you can use any of the doors you want. I have people that walk up. I have people that walk up to the door and they stop like there's a force field there. They're afraid to pull it open. And they'll walk to the other door. They all lead to one place, me. So just come on in.
And then you have 3 different counters that you do 3 different things at. Like I've seen you move over to the gas, and then over to the tires, and then the service desk and
the sales desk.
And I also noticed, and I'm going to do this, it's kind of impromptu. You were looking for some help, were you not?
Hey, we hired a guy.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, we hired a guy named Tommy Reid, an Ooltewahian. And
advertised about wanting some help, and let you see if anybody was listening and might want a job.
Tommy saw it on, Tommy's wife saw it on Facebook in the marketplace section. He started today, did a great job. He's a great addition to our staff.
So you sell tires, right?
Yes, a lot of tires.
So if you were telling your wife to go down to Steve Ray's Midnight Oil to get tires, what brand would you tell her?
Well, it depends on what your budget is, depending on what your car is. Of course, being a Michelin dealer, I'm a Michelin guy. Chris and Shelly, I've always been a Michelin guy. That's the only thing I run. But we have Goodyear, which is another quality, high level brand of tire. We've got a complete selection of that too. And we've also got a tire. It's called a Nexen, N-E-X-E-N. And it's a very popular, it's not an entry grade tire. It's better than that. It's that tire, Chris, when you come in, Shelly, and you go, I need some tires, Steve. I don't want the best, but I don't want the worst. I want that one in the middle. That's the Nexen. That's the one you want. 65 and 85,000 mile warranties, free road hazard.
Real quickly, give your gas price and a phone number how to get a hold of you.
643-1111. I think gas is $2.55, same everywhere else. Come see us at the Midnight Oil in Ooltewah and at the Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ooltewah. It's a fun place. I promise you'll have a good time.
Thank you, Steve Ray. Thank you for
Chris.
calling. And it's the Midnight Oil Hour.
There you go.
Ooltewah.
Chris Clanton and the folks over at 92.7 Nuga Radio. Always fun to be with Chris and Shelly. I don't know why I call her Sally. I knew her name was Shelly. Don't forget, tomorrow night at 7 is the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show. Scott from Smokestack Barbecue, Sean from Choo Choo Barbecue. One is a steak second place winner, other barbecue second place winner. We're going to talk to them. They'll give you the information that you need, have been looking for, so you can cook this Easter coming up. And we'll talk to Sean about some ham too. Sean is a great cook. He does. And well, Scott's a great cook too. We'll talk to both of them about ham. How about that? I love ham. I love ham. I'm going to just tell you right now, the last two fresh hams that my friend Bucky McCulley and I have done, they were unedible. I mean, inedible, I should say. And I don't know how to do a fresh ham. But we'll talk to Sean. He does know how to do that. All kinds of information tomorrow night at 7 on the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show. And tonight at 9, don't forget, Greg Rempe and the Barbecue Central Show. He's got a guy on. You may have heard of this guy. He's only a Emmy award-winning TV producer. A member of the Barbecue Hall of Fame. A guy by the name of Steven Reichland. Yeah, Steve Reichland, that guy. He'll be on live with Greg tonight. And then his second guest is the grill girl Robin Linders. I'm sure you've heard of her too. She's a hoot. And I'm going to tell you something. If you want to hear something funny, tune in and listen to Robin Linders. We'll have I won't go there, but she's crazy. You'll love her. And I heard about his second hour, and I can't remember who it was. And you got some guy on there. I don't know. I can't remember. But just go to his show page, Barbecue Central Show on Facebook, and you can hear all about it. Like his page. Go to his website, Barbecue Central Show. Tell him you want to get the updates. He'll send you his recipe for his secret sauce that he won't even give me, but he'll give it to you. And when you get it, forward it to Steve Ray at srmo.us. I sure would appreciate it. All that coming up. It's getting towards May, and it's Easter week. It's a big time to cook. We'll see you tomorrow night at 7 on the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show.